What is up, everybody? My name's Josh. I'm the fantasy football buff. I'm back to you with another episode with my brother, Noah, who is bilingual, as you can tell from his board. Guys, and welcome to the channel.
Un poco.
Un poco. The channel is dedicated to the art of Dynasty fantasy football. And today we're going to be talking about buy lows. The season's wrapping up. These are players that you need to acquire before the start of next season. So without further ado, let's get it. Been here for a while, you'll notice that we're in a new location, right? I don't have my mic, I don't have my light. I'm actually in Chicago. I'm originally from Utah, and I'm out visiting some family. And I wasn't necessarily planning on having an episode while I was out on Christmas vacation, but I had to. The people were clamoring for this episode, man. I was sitting there, and the YouTube channel has never seen such growth. Like we went from like 98 to 125 subscribers over 2-3 days. So guys, thank you. This is amazing. We just passed 1,000 views on one of our videos. So that is a huge milestone for us. I remember when we had 35 subscribers back 6 months ago, and I was like, man, is this even going to be a thing? But the hype's real. I couldn't miss out on another episode. So we're impromptuing one together right now. And if you're here, please subscribe to the channel, guys. We love the support. We love the comments below, and subscribing is free. So just in case you didn't think about that, and I'll lay it to you one-on-one, man. The more subscribers we get, the more time and research and energy I can justify to my wife into putting into this channel. Right?
So
She's like, how am I supposed to explain to her and be like, yeah, babe, I got my 25 subscribers that need my videos. No, man, we continue to grow, and then we'll give you less crap for it. That all being said, Noah, I have a question for you. Right, I have a question for you. It had to do with fantasy football. Of course, that's all we talk about on this channel. What would make you feel better, right? For your team, strategically speaking, this time of year, what would make you feel better if you barely missed the playoffs, right? You barely missed the playoffs, but you would have outscored every single team each round? Or if you barely missed the playoffs and your team was just trash and there's no way you would have won had you made the playoffs anyway? Which situation, right, would you prefer? Knowing you could have won it all, or missing out and being like, you know what, we're looking towards next year?
Looking towards next year.
Dude, I've been in scenario number one, and it's
I know you are.
It is killing me, bro. My team put up 190 points in the first round of the Losers Bowl, pretty much. Well, I mean, we're fighting for that 101
Week 14 spot. Specifically.
Yeah, week 14. That was against you, man. Fighting for the 101 rookie draft spot, and each round I would have not only won, but like handily each round the player I would have faced. And so it just breaks my heart. We'll see how I do in the championship, but I'm optimistic, man. Have you been in this situation before?
I've been in your situation before. I was in your situation last year in an auction league.
Oh,
just a single auction league. Yeah. Do you remember that game when it was a 4:00 game? Mm-hmm. Bucks playing at the Rams in the Coliseum, and Chris Godwin was game time decision extremely questionable.
Oh, geez.
And I didn't play him, and he popped off for like 40 points. And literally that one lack of start, it was the whole reason why I didn't make the playoffs. Wow. And then I outscored every single person throughout the rest of the league. It was demoralizing.
Wow. That dude, fantasy football is the worst. Like, I love it. It's my favorite thing, but it's also the worst. Like, we need to talk about our league real fast. For the guys who are new, Noah and I are in a Dynasty league, and it's just honestly my favorite thing in the world. And there's these two teams. There's a lot of people named Nick in our league for some reason. And Nick K,
right?
There's 4 or 5, man. There's like a surprising amount. But Nick K and Nick T were facing each other off in the semifinals. And Nick T was supposed to win by like 10 points. Right, and then the week starts. Thursday night football happens, Saturday night, and then Sunday morning happens. And Nick K does not look good. Right, his team was kind of on the edge. Josh Allen was the only reason he was still even in the game. He was projected to lose by 23 on Sleeper, and then there's a shift, man. He has J.D. McKissick in his lineup who starts racking up points, scores that touchdown, and before you know it, Sunday ends, right? Sunday, because when was the Steelers Cincinnati game? It was Monday, right? Yeah, so Sunday ends, and Nick K is beating Nick T by 0.16, 0.16 points to win it all, and Nick T, right, who was supposed to win it, has James Conner in his flex. Right, as James Conner. Now, James Conner doesn't play, so he puts in Ebron instead. So he puts in Ebron. He literally needs a single catch to win this game to continue to the championship. And you all know what happened, right? Ebron hurts his back and was out for the rest of the game. I've never seen anything like it, man. I've never seen a turnaround like that before in the semifinals in a fantasy football league. Like, that situation is every fantasy player's wet dream, right? Everyone's like, oh man, if only this guy gets injured, I have a chance. And it actually happened in the semifinals. Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, man. So anyways, that's a quick update for everybody. My mind's still blown. Fantasy football is crazy. Let's transition to what we're going to talk about today. Buy low players, right? Players that you need to acquire while their value's low. Fantasy football players, especially in Dynasty, are much like stocks, right? Like, the only time you'd ever buy high, right, is if that stock is just going to continue to buy high. Like, I always say that Amazon is always a buy. Like, I don't care what Amazon is currently valued at right now. Go buy a couple Amazon shares because they're just going to continue to climb. Right now, I'm not some kind of financial guy, so maybe I'm way off and people will yell at me in the comments. But that's how fantasy football should be looked at, right? So you and I have talked about this before. What is your perspective right now on buying players low on ascending teams, right? We got the Jets, the Jags, the Washington football team, right? Do you focus more exclusively on individual players, right? Or do you follow general trends of teams as they improve or decline?
For me, it's a combination of players that I like plus situations.
Okay.
Because situations are fluid. Players that I like, I have to have concrete evidence on why I need to switch my opinion on why I don't. For example, Jalen Hurst, receiver for the Niners.
Oh yeah.
Has played a couple preseason games, has had back issues.
A lot of hype.
Or his ACL. A lot of hype. Was a 5-star running back / he was a 5-star athlete out of high school.
Yeah.
Was a running back / receiver. Played some running back. Played some running back in Tennessee with Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
Played some receiver at Baylor and did pretty well, but it was his first year playing receiver. But he just hasn't, like, there's no reason to be quitting on him.
Yeah.
Unless if he can't come back from his knee injury. But from the sounds of it, it wasn't a Teddy Bridgewater situation in terms of knee. It happened early in camp where he will literally be having 12, maybe 13 months under his belt before week 1 or week 3's rolling around. But I like the situation because they still need playmakers on that offense. Yeah, you have Deebo, you have Ayuk, you have George Kittle, but their running back situation is depleted. You could see him being a running back type of player for them moving forward now that they have receiver depth. But he also is a completely different size than everyone else that I just listed. George Kittle's awesome, but he operates in the middle of the field. Deebo and Ayuk are more quick, speedy guys. They have some length. They're not small. But Jalen Hurst is like, dude, he's like 6'5".
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like, you gotta, it's liking a player, not having too much reason to not like him or to have to switch your opinion on him. ACL injury for sure is one of those things, but it's also one of those things that people come back from.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So that plus situation, and situations change. Like, was owning Jags receivers this year awesome? No, but if they get Trevor Lawrence, then yes.
Absolutely.
So it's
absolutely,
a
man. And you have to watch those team trends, right? Like, I personally am very big on buying on players on teams that are ascending, right? If you bought a 49ers player, right? If you bought George Kittle when the Niners sucked 2-3 years ago, then you're celebrating right now. If you're buying Dolphins players a couple of years ago, or even last year when their offense was terrible, as they continue to climb, you see how all of their running backs just tend to produce, right? Because these offenses are improving. So for Jets players, Jags players, players in the Washington football team, those are players I'm acquiring, right? Denzel Mims, James Robinson, even Logan Thomas right now is someone I think you can go out and buy low, who are seeing a lot of volume, who the talent seems to be there. And if the offense improves and they see more scoring opportunity, then they will just continue to improve as well. And I think it's really important to highlight how important buying low is in a dynasty league. Right? It's so incredibly low. It's taking that risk, buying someone who you believe will rebound, right? If earlier in the season, if you bought David Montgomery, right, who's now the RB2 over the past couple months because he's given all the work and is balling out against weak defenses, or if you bought Jonathan Taylor, right, my guy, I get paid every time I mention Jonathan Taylor in an episode, by the way. I don't know if you do that. Jonathan Taylor sponsors me. It's okay. It's a whole thing. He wins me championships. I get paid. It's all great. Anyways, if you bought low on those guys.
Championships?
Geez. In other leagues, man. Not in this league. I don't want to talk about this league. I'm still salty. Anyways. As soon as if you bought low on those players now, they're just going to continue to evolve. So as you and I've said a million times, dynasty value is subjective, right? It's subjective. I could see Jonathan Taylor as the dynasty RB1, right? You're a savage. Don't do me like that, man. I'm going to cry. Do not do me like that. 2021 is my season, by the way. I'm just going to name it now. Oh, savage. That is too much, man. I'm going to cry. I can't even talk about my team because we're going to kill it next season. I'm going after everybody.
That was funny.
Great. That was awesome. That was awesome, man. Dude, I might see a player and you might see the same player in the same situation and have completely different perspectives from it. And I'll use that transition to talk about my numero uno, because we're a bilingual channel here, player. Yeah, hit me with it.
One other thing I want to add, because you brought up a great point, and I kind of want to elaborate on it, is in terms of buying players, getting players, acquiring players on ascending teams.
Oh, yeah.
You have to look when you're building a team, like you got to kind of look at it from the team's perspective. So, for example, let's look at the Bills.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at the Bills last year.
Great.
You have to, and that offense has ascended. It's not ascending; it has ascended.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you missed the train on the Bills.
Yeah.
But
sorry about that.
but that's a prime example of an ascending offense. But you have to look maybe 2 or 3 years back. You got to go, okay, who on this offense is a cornerstone? We're not going to worry about replacing them. They are good, or at least good enough where we will get help at different positions.
Yep.
For example, an ascending position for the Bills is still running back and tight end.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah.
Receiver with Stephon, John Brown, Cole Beasley, Gabriel Davis. You know, they don't need to go out and get another receiver.
Yeah.
But right now they could use running backs, but they also have put draft capital in it. But they could use tight ends, and they have also put a little bit of draft capital in it. But you're just not seeing the production. So when it comes to if you look at the Jags, who are the staples in that offense? Right now, James Robinson. That's someone you can build around at least for the time being.
At least for the time being, yeah.
DJ Chark, Chenault.
Yeah.
But what's his name? Who caught all those touchdowns for the Jags this year? Who's like their number 2 or 3 receiver?
They have not Chenault. It's not Chris Conley.
Keenan Cole.
Keenan Cole. Okay, yeah.
He's not necessary. He could be good for another year, but he is not a cornerstone piece.
No.
You know what I mean?
No. Yeah.
But Chenault, I like to think DJ Chark is. James Robinson should be. You know, those are the cornerstone pieces of that offense, and then they're going to start putting pieces around them that start complementing them in this and that way. Yeah. So even you have to look at it from when you're looking at terrible offenses, like the Texans, who are the cornerstone pieces? Deshaun Watson and whatever receivers are on their roster between Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller. Outside of that, maybe Akins. Maybe.
Yeah.
But other, so just something to keep in mind when you're trying to analyze it for yourself.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. I totally agree with you. Yeah, and that's why I think the guys I named, Denzel Mims,
exactly,
Robinson, Logan Thomas. I think those are the cornerstone guys, especially my guy Logan Thomas. Man, I agree.
Ron
Rivera came out saying that a couple weeks ago that something switched on Logan Thomas that there was some shift that like he just clicked in the offense. And over the past month, he's just been balling. He saw 15 targets this past weekend. Anyways, go buy Logan Thomas, man. If it's not too late already, he's fantastic. But let's start talking about my number one guy. The reason we're here talking buy lows today, it's Ezekiel Elliott, man. It's Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke is the guy I'm going to try to buy low on this season for the right price. We need to highlight a couple things because there's a lot of hate going on Zeke, especially after missing last week and how well Pollard performed last week. It is one that, despite him struggling the past couple months or without Dak Prescott on the field, he's still the RB11 on the season, right? So he's not been great, but he's still the RB11 on the season. Now, here's the split. When Dak Prescott was on the field the first 5 weeks of the season, Zeke was the RB3, right? Averaging 22 points per game. When Dak was not on the field and that offense was just trash, right? He was the RB25 during that week from week 6 to week 14, averaging barely 10 points a game. So clearly, once Dak left that offense, Zeke was starting to struggle, right? And let's talk about injuries, right? Because that team has had so many injuries. First of all, Dak Prescott's going to be coming back next season. I firmly believe that he will be a Cowboy next year. And when he comes back, that offense is not only going to score more touchdowns, but Zeke's also going to see more targets. Zeke was seeing a lot of targets when Dak was under center. Second, dude, that offensive line has had so many injuries, man. This is it. The Cowboys' offensive line has had 15 different O-line combinations. 15. That, you know how that the consistency of an offensive line is so important to a team, especially for a player like Zeke. And because of the injuries and them swapping from, right guard to left guard, swapping players around, that will slow down the offense as a whole. And to put a bow on all of it, Zeke's on contract till 2027, right? So if for those out here watching, well, Tony Pollard look better, the Cowboys don't care, right? There's no out until 2023, and it's a really expensive out. I don't have the number in front of me. But so Zeke's going to be around for at least the next 3 years, if not longer. And I understand the Tony Pollard love. I also love watching Pollard. But this past week, he scored a 40-yard touchdown, which was, impressive. It takes a certain level of ability to even do that. But you subtract that 40-yard touchdown, which I'm hesitant to do to begin with, he would have had 11 carries for 29 yards. Right? So it's not like he had an amazing game. It's not like he was being fed with Zeke out. He just broke off a long touchdown, and it made his day look even better. So I think Zeke's a buy because the Zeke owners are freaking out right now. I talked to Zach, who's in our league, who owns Zeke, and he's like, bro, I love my team. I hate Zeke, dude. I'm like ready to sell him for anything. Those were his words, man. I'm not making that up. Those were his words. He's going to trade Zeke for anything. And I still think Zeke's a top 10 dynasty quarterback. I still think he's a top 10 dynasty quarterback because of the contract, because he's just going to get running back. Jeez, dude. I do that all the time. He's still a top 10 dynasty running back. He's not a top 10 dynasty quarterback at all. He's a terrible passer. But I believe, once that offensive line is healthy, once Dak is back, Zeke's going to continue to give that safe floor, be a top 5 running back next season, and continue on from there. And you can get him for so much cheaper than a top 10 dynasty running back. I bet you I could trade a second and third round pick to Zach and get Zeke right now. Right, second and third round pick, which I know this upcoming draft is hyped up, but to get a top 10 running back, then that's a steal, man. So that's what I would be doing. That's why I think Zeke's a buy. What are your thoughts, though? Because he has had, he's been slow, and he has a lot of carries on his frame, man. So what is your opinion here?
He's one of the best backs at pass protection, and the same thing goes with tight ends as it does with receivers, as it goes with running backs. If you can block on the perimeter, you're gonna get snaps. Mm-hmm. Tight ends, if you can block in line, you're gonna get snaps. Look at Nick Boyle in Baltimore.
Yeah,
dude loves blocking. Yeah, would rather pancake someone than score a touchdown. His words, not mine. And running backs, if they can stay in on third down and pick up a blitzing safety off the edge or pick up a linebacker or whatever off up the middle, you stay on the field.
Yeah.
He's got the contract behind it. The offensive line can only get better. They have the talent there. They have, it's just a matter of them getting healthy. And if Kellen Moore doesn't leave for Boise State, which could happen, because Boise State just had their head coach get sniped from by Auburn.
Yeah.
And so now Boise State has a head coaching vacancy. It kind of takes a special person to run the Boise State program. you know, and so I think Kellen Moore is really going to think about going to Boise State and maybe, you know, taking over there, which I think would be a lot of fun, honestly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it would be.
But when Dak goes down and the offensive line's even worse, first off, it's like you're back in preseason in terms of like, what do we do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Secondly, when Ben DiNucci is your starting quarterback for a week, it's like, okay, how are we going to – if we're going to lose, how are we going to lose? Ben DiNucci's going to throw for 400 yards, and then we'll accept that he can beat us. You know, but they're not going to let Zeke run all over them. It's like, what's the biggest concern when Ben DiNucci's under center? Is Zeke running the ball? It's like, all right, you know, we don't really have to respect the pass as much because, dude, you can't get the ball there. So that plays into effect as well. Like, if you don't have a respectable quarterback under center, like that's why what Saquon did his rookie year is kind of like, wow, you know. And even Christian McCaffrey to an extent, because I mean, like, Cam Newton is Cam Newton, but I mean, like, he was doing it last year when Cam was out and they had, you know, who started for? I know Will Greer started a game. Kyle Allen. Yeah. You know, which, I mean, there are worse alternatives, but still, it's not, you know, Teddy Bridgewater's still a couple steps up ahead of them. So I like Zeke as a buy. Yeah. If you are in a position to win next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, but if you're in a position, like for my team, where I am young, like my oldest player right now, I think is Teddy Bridgewater. And after that, I think my next oldest player is Will Fuller. And everyone else is under 25. Me going out and acquiring Zeke doesn't really make sense for the makeup of my team, because I'd rather have the draft capital or the younger players to build behind. Unless if I'm willing to sell all of my young players to get players to win next year.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I mean, even the argument for your team, I think your team could use a solid veteran piece, right? Not to necessarily win this upcoming season, because I do think Zeke will have fantasy value for the next 2 to 3 seasons. But just to kind of balance a little bit between all the young players and one solid piece you can put in there and really have faith in.
I see where you're coming from. I'm trying to build that organically.
Interesting. Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to build, you know, if we're planning on running this Dynasty League for 10, 15 years, I want to be dominating years 4 through 12.
Okay. And you're going to take the 3-year buffering period pretty much through 4 years.
Undoubtedly, you know.
Okay, that's not my strategy, man. I want to at least compete. I want to do a balance of both.
Dude, I was the first team out of the playoffs this year. What you talking about? I don't.
That's right.
So I had a chance to make the playoffs. I didn't want to.
That's true. You did have.
So I mean, when it comes down to it, it's just a matter of, and that's just a preference of players for me. Like, I could go out and acquire older guys. But I've been following college football recruiting for, am I 22? I don't know, for at least 12 years at this point. Yeah. You know, and so I know I like what I like, and I know what I like. And what I like is what's coming up and what I have on my team. So Zeke, great buy low. I think, honestly, if you can get Zeke, because, you know, we got to put, if we're going to say these are buy low guys, you kind of have to put tangible numbers on them for people to have. So for me, if I really wanted Zeke, I had the position to have Zeke, I would be buying Zeke if I'm a guy like that made the playoffs, maybe even made the semifinals, just got bounced out, or made mainly semifinals type of players, or even just, you know, first round bounce outs, where they just want to kind of get a veteran piece. And I would be willing to either to trade away a whole entire first round pick and maybe get like Zeke for your Zeke Zeke in a second for my first type of thing, or Zeke in a third for, you know, for my first, you know, type of thing. So they get a top 10 pick, you get Zeke and maybe a third round pick, or even a next year second or something like that, you know, because they get a player right now, you get someone that they can kind of, you know, mold into as a rookie. So that's what, if I'm sitting at like, even like where I know Nino, my brother, he doesn't really like Zeke, so he won't be doing this, but he's someone that could use, who's in the championship, that could use another staple at running back, veteran wise. It wouldn't be the most absurd thing to see him trade away the 9th or 10th overall pick to get Zeke.
Yeah.
And if I'm a Zeke owner, I don't hate that trade either.
Yeah.
You know?
It depends, man. If I'm the Zeke owner, I'm not trading right now. And my only hesitation for even acquiring Zeke is I don't like acquiring the descending players. Right? My personal strategy in fantasy is getting players who I believe the best days are ahead. And I don't know if from a fantasy perspective, the peak of Zeke's career is ahead of him. I still think he has value. I think he's going to bounce back. And I believe people are panicking. That's why you can buy low now. But my only hesitation is I do think that, I mean, at the end of the day, how many more years of fantasy relevancy does he have? I mean, he has the contract and he has the team. And so it could be next 2-3 years, right? But anyways, so that all being said, man, that's my perspective. I think people are panicking. And I think you can get really low on Zeke. Who's your first guy that you want to buy low, someone you expect to bounce back in 2021?
No, I want you to keep rolling through your list.
Oh, let's go, bro. I like it, man.
Keep rolling through your list.
My next one is more of a forgiveness, right? Because you can see Zeke how you want. I need to forgive this player because they've hurt me. And that is none other than a former my guy on my Instagram page, and that's Hayden Hurst. And Hayden Hurst, tight end for the Atlanta Falcons. Hayden Hurst is currently the tight end 16 on the season. Guys, the tight end 16 is someone that should not be anywhere near your starting lineup. Just because even top 10 tight ends are kind of off and on. At the beginning of the season, I promised people he'd be a top 5 tight end. And it almost came true, man. It almost came true. Like, the hype was real coming in 2020. He's Hayden Hurst, a former first-round pick by the Ravens. The Falcons traded a second-round pick to get him this past offseason. There was a lot of hype in training camp that for the Falcons that he was looking really good. And Dirk Cutter has a extensive history with successful fantasy tight ends, not to mention Austin Hooper's success last season. So there's a lot of reasons why I thought he could kill it. Now, before the Week 9 bye week, Hayden Hurst was the tight end 5 on the season. He was the tight end 5, and he had either 50 yards or a touchdown in all of his games but 2, right? So 77% of his games. So he was giving you a safe floor. He wasn't giving you this crazy ceiling. And that's what I talked about at the beginning of the season. I said he has a floor of 80 targets on the year, and he currently has 72 targets on the year. So I was there's still a game left. So he'll probably hit that number. He hasn't been startable since their bye week. He's put up multiple single-digit games. But I'm not panicking. Right, I'm not panicking. At the end of the day, Hayden Hurst has participated in 83% of the Falcons' routes. Right, 83%. He's 5th in the league amongst tight ends in routes run. So he's out there, he's running around, and dude, the physical ability's there, man. He's 6'5", 250, and he's 5th in the league amongst tight ends in yards after the catch. And he passes my eye test. He seems to make really impressive catches all the time, but because he's not necessarily producing, and because there are so many other weapons on the Falcons, people kind of lose track of him. And I'm still buying him because of the future of this offense, right? I believe they're continuing to be a pass-heavy offense, right? And I don't know how much longer Julio will be there, and that's a significant amount of targets that might disappear once Julio's gone, even though that offense has struggled without him, man. And the reality is there was a lot of hype coming into this year with Hayden Hurst because of Matt Ryan saying great things about him. And I think their chemistry is still developing, right? I don't think he had a full offseason because of COVID to really develop with those guys. And I think he's that type of guy that's going to finish the year in that RB or in that tight end 4 to tight end 8 range next season, right? I think he's kind of a floor play where he's not going to be the George Kittle. He's not going to be the Travis Kelce or the Darren Waller and give you that crazy ceiling. But if you're looking for a guy who you can buy low and just stick in your lineup and it's good for 10 to 15 points every week for the most part, that's who I think Hayden Hurst is. So Hayden Hurst, I know you're watching this, man. I forgive you, man. I'm not panicking. I believe in you. I believe in your talents. And you're someone, if I didn't own everywhere, I'd try to buy low. What are your thoughts, man, on Hayden Hurst and my forgiveness to this man?
My biggest, for me, it's who did the Falcons hire offensively? You know, because there are some coaches, like even Bruce Arians, man, who has Cameron Brate. Yeah. I know O.J. Howard's hurt, but Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard, and Gronk. Mm-hmm. And it just seems like it is such a task to get the tight ends the ball sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, it's better this year because there's so much talent there. So a lot of it for me depends on who's calling the plays and what kind of offense they're running.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this is a hot take. You tell me. Julio's done.
Yeah, I think so, man.
Julio's done.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Julio, after how he treated his hamstring, he will never be the same.
Yeah.
I think his last peak play was maybe in the Super Bowl when he had that crazy toe tap when the Falcons lost.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I know he's had some crazy games since then in terms of stats, but Christian McCaffrey, Saquon, Michael Thomas, young enough they can come back from injury.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
Julio hurt his hamstring. It's done. So what I'm saying is there are targets to be acquired.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think this is an offense that with the right, they have pieces. You know, the Falcons, you could say, is an ascending offense.
Absolutely.
They need a running back.
Yeah, badly.
They need
Aaron Jones, please.
Aaron Jones to the Falcons would actually be pretty
Please.
awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I would actually enjoy that. I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
But you know, they have some pieces. They're missing some. I think they really. I mean, look at them. They've lost like 5 or 6. They've blown like 5 or 6 huge leads.
Yeah.
This year, you know, the worst one probably was the Cowboys game. Early on in the season, you know. And so you see this team obviously is decently talented. They can score points. It's just they can't finish.
Yeah.
And that starts with whoever's coaching them.
Yeah.
And so I like Hayden Hurst, but my value, my mindset on it is dependent on who comes in.
Yeah.
And how they use that. Like, for example, if you come from the Andy Reid coaching tree, you use tight ends. You know, Chiefs use tight ends.
Oh yeah.
Colts use tight ends. Eagles use tight ends. You know. So like if what's it, Eric Bieniemy, you know, the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs ended up at the Falcons, I'd be like, all right, well let's see what can happen. You know, they got weapons. You know, I think Calvin Ridley in that offense would be a lot of fun.
I can only wish. As the proud Calvin Ridley owner, I can only wish, man. And so this is, I guess, my final point on Hayden Hurst is all the things are there, like the physical ability, the fact that they traded a second-round pick to get him. All those things are there. And I think the physical ability, I can't state that enough. I think he's someone that's always slept on, but he is the tight end 15 right now in Fantasy Pros Dynasty rankings. And you got guys like Zach Ertz, Irv Smith, and Austin Hooper ahead of him. And I think he should be at least ahead of that tier. And so if you can pay that kind of price to get him, then I would. Yeah, then I would for sure. I mean, I think you could shoot out a third-round pick this year, a third-round rookie pick, and get Hayden Hurst. And I think that would be worth it. But just depending on how your team looks. Like if you already have – there's going to be so many great young wide receivers in the third round this upcoming draft, man. If you can get – but if you're set in that position and need a tight end, I think you can grab Hayden Hurst right there. And then my third guy that I'm buying low is T. Higgins, man. It's T. Higgins, rookie wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals. And it's not, you can say, I know it's tough to buy rookie wide receivers because, I mean, their value is so high. People are excited about rookie wide receivers. This is a player I'm willing to buy high on, right, if that's the right word, because the man's a young stud in the making. And he's the wide receiver 27 on the season. And people still see the Bengals offense as one that struggles, right? An offense that people, I think for the most part, aren't super excited for. But he was the 33rd pick in the NFL draft this past season, and he was supposed to be the new A.J. Green, right? They're literally the same height and weight. He was supposed to be behind A.J. Green this season to develop into a player into next year. That's what everyone was talking about. And, man, like, T. Higgins was balling out with Joe Burrow under center. He was balling out, man. He was only 21 years old on a short offense, earned a starting role. Right, he didn't play week 1, earned a starting role in week 2, and from week 2 to 10, so all the games that he's played with Joe Burrow under center, he's averaged 15.6 PPR fantasy points per game. That's the wide receiver 13. The wide receiver 13, man. And the beautiful part is that he's consistent, right? He's only scored a game with Burrow under center. He has only scored once in the single digits, and that was his first game ever in the NFL. So it seems choppy right now, but a year from now, AJ Green will be gone, Joe Burrow will be back, and I think T. Higgins could be a locked and loaded high-end wide receiver 2 in your lineup every week. I really do believe that between the talent, the offense, everything's there, man. And I think right now his price might never be lower. And I'm saying that as someone who's sent trade offers to try to get T. Higgins. And Trey, who's in our league, will not have it because he loves T. Higgins just as much as I do. So it's just his price will never be lower. I think he should be at least a top 15 dynasty wide receiver. I don't know where I can pull it up on Fantasy Pros, but that's where I would have him, man. Anyways, it's kind of a weird buy low because he's still great and people value him, but I think this is a guy you might want to buy high on, right? A guy whose value seems to be high. I think he's just going to continue to trend up, man. What's your opinions on T. Higgins here?
It goes T. Higgins. You throwing his name out there goes hand in hand with what we said about getting cornerstone pieces of offenses, getting staple pieces of growing offenses. Yeah. What are the growing staples of that offense? Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, because they gave him the contract.
Oh, yeah.
T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
Outside of that, tight end, up for grabs. Running back, in my opinion, up for grabs. Another third receiver on that team, up for grabs. You know, but that is a player where they put draft capital into it. They're going to stick with him, and they're going to see what happens, you know? And so they're not going to be looking, especially because he produced, man. He looks good. And he's going to be looking – they're good. You don't not build around him, you know? He's 21, he's 21, you know, we'll be going on 22 here soon. And those that you're not a man in the NFL from a physicality standpoint for most players until you're around 24, 25. Yeah. You know, you're still developing as an individual.
Yeah.
You know, unless if you're DK Metcalf, but even then I think DK Metcalf at 25 years old is going to be like, dude, you are not fair.
Yeah.
You know, type of thing. So no, I think that's a phenomenal. And the thing is rookies that kind of are, because rookies every single year are always going to get blown up in training camp. They're always going to get blown up in preseason. Their hype is always going to be there. People get overhyped, and then things just fall right in front of them. You know, even just look at Darrell Henderson last year. He was like the sleeper running back pick for rookies. And then he didn't do anything last year. And then this year, obviously Cam Akers has shaken that whole thing up. But he was a very serviceable running back for the first 6-7 weeks of the season. Yeah. Because of the sheer volume he was getting.
Yeah.
And so T. Higgins, I think, has a great chance of being like, all right, AJ Green essentially done. At this point, it's just more of like a player's coach that can get on the field, that straps up the cleats.
Yeah.
It can hopefully he's taken that mentor-mentee relationship with T. Higgins.
Yeah.
I think that's a great buy low. Especially, I honestly think trying to get both Higgins and Burrows this offseason is a great move. If you're going to get one of the two, you might as well try to go for two because Burrow's not going to be any cheaper than he is right now.
Yep, I agree.
As in, you'll have because people will be like, oh, dude, come on. He's it's hard to say he's not. And people are going to try to undervalue Burrows, in terms of trades. You have Burrows, be so easy. I don't want to say so easy, but it'd be easy to be convincing of, come on, dude, he's not going to play for the first 8-9 weeks, potentially. You know, he has a chance of missing that much, you know, and then you would tell me, well, that's not true. You don't know that. And then I would just show you the video of his knee literally going out and then back in. Yeah. And I go, are you sure? Because that looks pretty painful to me.
Yeah.
So I think T. Higgins is a great buy low, and you have to make these decisions, especially when you're looking at rookies that just happened in the upcoming rookie draft. You almost have to look at it in a 3-year outlook.
Yeah.
And kind of be like, okay, I have some guys have for example, a sophomore this year would be Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
You'll have what's his name? AJ Brown.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Who else is a sophomore receiver? Metcalf. Okay. So you have to look at that, and then let's just go T. Higgins, Hig. Let's go CD. Let's go Raygor. And
Justin Jefferson, baby.
And we'll go Justin Jefferson. Okay. Justin J. Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 receivers over the past 3 years. And you got to look at who's coming up in this draft.
Yeah.
So let's say Jamar Chase, and let's just throw Devontae Smith on there, just as examples.
Absolutely.
1, and you have to almost make it look at it and go, okay, where do these, I know my handwriting sucks, but where do these rookies fit in this list? As in, okay, let's say DK Metcalf is the number 1 guy. Okay, and then after that, let's say it's AJ Brown. And then after that, would it be Terry McLaurin, or would you rather have Jamar Chase? Would it be Terry McLaurin, or would you rather have CeeDee Lamb? Would it be Terry McLaurin, or would you rather have Justin Jefferson? And let's say it's Justin Jefferson. Well, would you want to have Jamar Chase over Justin Jefferson? And so that's how you almost have to, especially at the receiver position.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you have to value how you kind of look at your receivers in terms of buying them low, because you could sell like a mid to late second round pick and probably get T. Higgins.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you got to go, well, would I rather have T. Higgins than whoever's going to be going there?
Here's a question for you, and this is going to be super hot takey, especially the way you handle Dynasty and especially the way the hype gets around the NFL draft. This is and I don't even know if this question is more of a statement, but who would you rather have, right? T. Higgins or any wide receiver from this 2021 rookie class, right? And it's you can make plenty of arguments that maybe these new wide receivers land in a better situation, right? Maybe they're more talented than T. Higgins. That's entirely possible. All I'm saying is, from my perspective as a Dynasty owner, T. Higgins is way safer than anyone coming in, man. There's no guarantee that Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, there's no guarantee that they're going to be Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb and DK Metcalf, right? Like, I understand how exciting it is for new, young rookies to come in, but man, there's been so many people had N'Keal Harry ranked as the Dynasty 101 pick a couple of years ago. I know people who drafted N'Keal Harry over Josh Jacobs, over DK Metcalf, over AJ Brown, over Terry McLaurin, right? So I'm just saying is that we can't look at these upcoming rookies as a guarantee. Far from it. We don't know where they're going to land. We don't know what the scheme's going to be like. We don't even know if their talent will translate. We can project that, but we don't know for sure. That's why, me personally, if I had an option between T. Higgins or a Jamar Chase, it's a lot closer than people might think. Because people might say that's a no-brainer. I'm going for the talented rookie who killed it at LSU. Right? But I'm just saying it's a little bit closer because at least T. Higgins has proved it. And at least he has a year with Joe Burrow, or he's the man. He's 21 years old and was already, the wide receiver 13, did I say, on the season? Like, I'm just saying it's closer. Now, what's your perspective on that risk there? Because you have Hollywood Brown, right? You have every single wide receiver taken before DK Metcalf. You have like N'Keal Harry, right? You have even guys like Henry Ruggs, right? Who, man, I really, really hope that you drafted Justin Jefferson over him in hindsight, right? So I'm just saying just because they're drafted early is not a guarantee that they'll produce. So I would lean more towards T. Higgins. But what are your thoughts on that one, man? Because I know you love the rookies. I know you love the young guys.
It just depends for me. It just depends on if, again, are you buying like a Jamar Chase? Is he going to be a cornerstone guy on an up and coming offense, or is he going to be buried on an offense you don't want to be a part of?
Yeah.
And that kind of weighs. But no, that's true. You gotta balance between production that's already happened versus potential.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's where I pull up my over 3-4 years and go, all right, when these guys were all coming out, who would I have ranked over who? And now where would I have who over who, and so on and so forth. And so obviously it's extremely subjective, but it all depends. Am I getting Jamar Chase, with the 8th pick? Because if so, dude, I will take my championship next year, type of thing. Or am I getting T. Higgins for like the 17th pick in the draft? If I'm getting T. Higgins for the 17th pick in the draft, that person, whoever's getting the 17th pick, is taking the roll in the dice, go, hey, there's a young guy I really like,
yeah,
more than T. Higgins. But it's hard to trade rookies that have already produced for late rookie picks. It's just hard. It's it's difficult. So
Absolutely.
there are rookies that I'd rather have than T. Higgins because I like their ceiling more. But I think where T. Higgins landed could not have been any better.
Yeah, with Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow, I in that pass-heavy offense, yeah, absolutely, man. All right, that's been my bye, guys. Talk to me.
I've been thinking of some actually over the past, 10 minutes or so. One guy, I had to look up his contract. I got to look up the other guy's contract. One guy, was a solid player, solid wide receiver 2 on his team, 2019, not this past year, but 2019.
Yeah.
Played on a pretty prolific offense, had a lot of good looks, was a solid flex, if not maybe a wide receiver 3 throughout the season. But the team that he's on took a receiver in the first round, not because they needed receiver, but because they couldn't believe that the talent that fell to them. And I'm talking about CeeDee Lamb is who got taken, but Michael Gallup.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think he's a phenomenal buy low candidate on the basis that we've seen him produce. Yeah. He has the talent, but the targets and the volume's just not there. And he has this year and next year on his contract, and then he's a free agent. And there's no way the Cowboys are going to spend money to keep him.
Yeah, there's no need. There's no need.
Not when you draft CeeDee Lamb, you're saying Michael Gallup, we like you, but you're not getting another contract from us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so I think he's a guy that could go be a dominant receiver. I know it may be a year too late, but dude, Michael Gallup and Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Would be awesome. Even Michael Gallup replacing Sammy Watkins in Kansas City as a veteran receiver, Michael Gallup can fit in so many different offenses that I think, and he's going to be coming from a good offense, but he's like, dude, I'm ready to ball out. I'm ready to get the ball. Or even because John Brown's older, even Michael Gallup with the Bills type of situation, or you bring Michael Gallup in with the Jets and you try to bring in a veteran piece to go with Mims. Type of thing. Absolutely. I think Michael Gallup's market after his contract over, I've tried to trade for Michael Gallup probably 3 or 4 times this year.
In our league? Oh, wow.
In our league. And I already own CeeDee Lamb. And it's not because it's dude, I don't want all Cowboys receivers. I just those 2 receivers are awesome.
You're not a closet Cowboys fan? Just tell us, man. You can be honest. If you're a Cowboys fan, you can speak up.
I'm not. No, I'm not. No.
It's like how Trey's a Niners fan because he has Raheem Mostert, he has Kittle, he has Deebo, he has 3 other Niners players, man. Sometimes that just happens. It's pretty funny.
And it's been unfortunate for him this year.
Yeah, seriously.
Even though he made the playoffs, which was kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah.
But Michael Gallup, another receiver where a guy's going to be playing on a contract year. Michael Gallup has the chance to be next year's Corey Davis.
Interesting. Okay, on the Cowboys, or you think elsewhere?
Well, I don't know. Maybe in terms of produces enough to get that contract from someone else. Because I don't think Corey Davis is going to get re-signed by Tennessee. But if Tennessee does re-sign Corey Davis, that would be so awesome.
Yeah,
I think that'd be really sweet.
There, dude. He's a great. We'll have to talk about Corey Davis another time because I love that man. But I could see it, especially with Dak under center. If Kellen Moore stays there, how pass heavy that offense is. I could absolutely see that, man. I just remember all the comparisons between Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup's stats last season, and they were surprisingly similar. Right, their targets were very same. Their yardage was similar. He's definitely only 24 years old. I think that's a great buy low. Not someone I'm particularly interested in. Just me personally, I just don't find it sexy, man. And that's fine. That's how you buy low championships.
Exactly.
Sure, right? That's how you do it. I just personally, I don't know why I can't. I have a hard time pulling a trigger. It all depends on what you'd be sending out, though. Right? If you're sending out,
yeah.
But anyways, awesome, man. Awesome. Do you have anyone else outside of Michael Gallup that you want to buy low on right now?
I do. Yeah. And I think it's a position. It's another receiver. I think it's a guy that has a chance that's kind of in Michael Gallup's shoes, but a little bit different because he just had his 5th year contract option picked up. You know, first round picks in the NFL get a fifth round team option.
Absolutely.
Or fifth year team option, I should say. And he had his picked up, so he's going to be in a contract year going into next year. He was drafted in the top, I want to say top 5, but for sure top 10. Has been very hit and miss. I would say the most hit and miss receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think it's someone that may or may not get signed, but I think could be very valuable to a team like Michael Gallup, and it's Mike Williams.
Oh, there you go, man. Dude, the Mike Williams hype a couple of years ago was real. Man. He was being drafted as like a top 25 wide receiver everywhere 2 years ago. Like he's so big, he's so fast, he can high point the ball. The problem is he's just had inconsistent quarterback play, right? With Phillip Rivers, of course, hasn't been seeing a crazy amount of targets. But I agree with you, man. The talent and the physical abilities there. What does his contract look like off the top of his head?
I just looked it up. He has 1 year left. Next year, 2021, he's making $15 million. Because that's what the fifth year pays.
Nice.
And so he's making $15 million. So they're going into it next year being like, hey, man, if you ball out, we want to keep you and Keenan next to each other. But if not, then we're going to figure out what we can do. You know, but Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry, that is an ascending offense on a team that flipping sucks.
Yeah.
Like on a team that is going to be good. The Chargers, if they stay healthy next year at all, are going to be. So I like Mike Williams, whether he's with the Chargers after 2021 or not. Because again, Mike Williams on a team like, Mike Williams on a team like the Ravens, sign me up. Mike Williams on a team, again, like Chiefs. Mike Williams even to the Broncos as a guy to play next to Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler.
Yeah.
You know, he's such a big body, someone's going to snatch him up. And they're going to chalk it up to is, I don't know who's coaching receivers. Keenan Allen's an anomaly because this guy's got talent. So
honestly, man. Honestly, dude. No, I totally agree. He's someone who I still think you can buy incredibly, incredibly low on. He is not expensive right now, especially with his injury struggles recently. I mean, he's been struggling with injury the past couple of years, but I think he's someone you can definitely buy low on. All right, man, let's wrap it up. I got rapid fire buy sell round for you. I got maybe 5, 6, 7 players here in front of me. I'm going to tell you the player's name. I'm going to tell you where they finished the season, or at least up to this point from a fantasy standings perspective. And then just really quickly, are you buying or selling them in Dynasty? Nothing too crazy here. Just are you buying or selling them with a little bit of analysis?
I will give myself 30-second analysis.
Oh, dude, I love it. I love it. All right.
So when you stop, actually, we'll do 45. How about this? 45 seconds.
Yeah.
45 seconds for both of us.
Okay, I like it. We'll bang these out.
You got to describe them quickly enough, and I got to answer quickly enough. 45 seconds. Time starts when you start talking about them.
Literally the speed round. All right, let's go. All right, man. Our first guy is Joe Mixon. He's the running back 9 from weeks 1 through 6, but has a 142-point game in there against the Jags. So his numbers are clearly swayed on that point. Buy or sell, Dynasty?
Buy if they draft Penei Sewell out of Oregon.
Oh, yeah. I like it, man. All right. Enough said right there, man. If that O-line steps up with Burrow, with Higgins on the outside, and that huge contract he has, someone you can get for really cheap. All right. Dallas Goedert, right? He's the tight end 5 since their week 9 bye. Buy or sell Dallas Goedert in Dynasty?
If Doug Peterson is the coach and Zach Ertz is not an Eagle, buy heavy.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you can get him now before Ertz leaves for a little bit cheaper, do it, because he's about to be a top 3 Dynasty tight end.
Again, another ascending play or another staple on maybe an ascending offense. Depends on how Jalen Hurts works out, but
I like it. Yeah. I like it, man. All right, next. So buy Dallas Goedert if you can in Dynasty as well. Let's talk about Deebo Samuel. Man, he's only played 5 games this season, struggled with a lot of injuries over the past 2 years. Last season, he was a top 15 wide receiver on the season. This year, he's averaging 14.2 points per game. That's a wide receiver 23 over those 5 games. Are you buying or selling Deebo Samuel right now in Dynasty?
Buying, but I don't think he's worth the price.
Whoa, okay. Wait, so is that even a buy then? How does that work?
Well, because if you can buy him at a good price, then yeah, but I wouldn't be going, jumping out of joy because personally, until the Niners get a new quarterback, I just don't think their offense is going to be putting up huge fantasy numbers until I see them get a better quarterback.
Interesting. My biggest concern is the targets, right? With Kittle back, with Ayuk breaking out, I don't know how many targets he's going to see on that run-heavy defense or run-heavy offense. But, I mean, the man, when he gets the ball in the hand, he's just messing people up, man. And the way they're scheming him in Kyle Shanahan's offense, he is dangerous. So, no, I understand what you're saying, right? I understand what you're saying. But he's someone that I'm going to try to acquire because I think his value is incredibly low right now. Next buy sell. Brandon Cooks, man. He's the wide receiver 33 on the season, has 5 concussions, right? But think about this, man. Think about it this way. I think Will Fuller's gone, and since Bill O'Brien got fired, Brandon Cooks is the wide receiver 16 on the season. He's a wide receiver 16. He's been great. He's the only person on contract going into next season who's legitimate. Deshaun Watson needs to pass to somebody.
Sell to the pawn shop, dude.
I disagree with you on this one. Brandon Cooks is actually someone I'm looking to acquire this offseason because I think he's going to be the only show in town next year. And he's put up every season he plays 16 games, he's put up 1,000-yard seasons, right? And he has arguably one of the best quarterbacks he's ever played with under center, and he's the only show in town on a team that passed the ball a lot. I understand he's like 29, and I understand he's had 5 concussions, but he's someone I think you can get for super cheap, who's going to be a wide receiver 2, if not better, over the next 2 seasons. With
You're only buying him if you got a chance to win next year. Yeah. Outside of that, Dynasty, my team, not buying.
Yeah, I'll buy him, man. I think he's the kind of player who's that last flex spot who I think will be a solid wide receiver 2. He's like a poor man's Robert Woods at this point, right? Who's not super cheap or who's not super young. He's getting older up there. He's under contract. And will produce as a wide receiver 2 over the next couple of years. At least that's how I think it's going to happen. All right, man, we got 2 last ones for you. Jerry Jeudy, the rookie wide receiver out of Alabama with the Broncos, man. He's the wide receiver 53 on this. He's not even top 50. Are we buying or selling?
Huge buy.
Yeah.
Depends on price again.
Yeah.
But again, that's another offense where Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Noah Fant are the staples, the cornerstones of what they're going to build that offense around. Running back and quarterback are a revolving door in that offense, but the offensive line isn't that bad.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, man. It's definitely someone I think you can get for pretty cheap right now, especially because I think people are worried about Cortland Sutton coming back. And I think Jerry Jeudy is just that talented, where if you get improved quarterback play, a better offensive line, I think it can be an excellent, top 24 wide receiver, even in that offense, depending on the quarterback situation. Last guy, man, before we wrap it up, Leonard Fournette, man. Leonard Fournette's the RB35 on the season, former first-round pick. He's going to land somewhere, right? He's on a 1-year contract. Who knows if he'll be with the Bucs? Who knows if he'll be elsewhere? He looked good this past week, man. I know he was a healthy scratch prior to Rojo getting hurt, but the man didn't look terrible against whoever the Bucs played this past week, and I don't even remember off the top of my head. But anyways, that all being said, buy, sell, what do you think?
Again,
right now,
price.
Right? You have to make a decision today. We don't know where he's going to land.
I'm not buying him.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think he's going to be like, I don't want to say like the next Garrett Blount, but I think he's just going to be the journeyman of the NFL. He's going to just hop from team to team to team because his style of play yields a lot of years because it's not quick cut. It's I'm going to run you over, stiff arm. Leonard Fournette is essentially poor man's Derrick Henry.
Really poor man's Derrick Henry. But, dude, Leonard Fournette's seeing a lot of targets. He's the pass catching back for the Bucs right now. Like, he's seeing way more targets than Henry is. So, I don't know, man. I have a hard time. I never considered him a great pass catcher, but he's seeing the targets. So, what do I know? Like,
dude, Leonard Fournette, when they started getting him involved for the Bucks, like maybe week 4 or 5, that was the dumbest thing that, as a Bucks fan, the dumbest thing we did, because it just ruined the entire flow of the offense. He didn't really fit. It felt so forced to get him in the game. And Rojo's been cooking, man. I mean, Rojo is the truth.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. Rojo.
I just don't. He's not with the Bucks next year. Leonard Fournette is not with the Bucks next year.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I could totally see that. All right, man. Well, that's buy sell for us today. That's all I got for you. But dude, I will wrap up with one question, just because I want to hear your thoughts a little bit. And if the people have watched up to this point, I'm sure they want to hear this discussion right now. And it's, if draft capital didn't matter, right? If picks, this upcoming draft, or where people in the NFL draft, right? What is your fantasy dream, right? Where is your fantasy pairing for any player in college right now, any player and any NFL team for fantasy, right? You can pick any player, any team. Go off the top of your head.
I think I would have a hard time passing on Travis Etienne to the Niners.
Interesting. Dude, I could see it, man. I didn't even think
he fits that running scheme so flipping well. Oh, yeah. He can catch out of the backfield. I mean, like, I know you're high on Harris out of Alabama.
Yeah. Love Harris.
But I just think I think Etienne is such a staple of a guy, and Clemson had to replace so many offensive linemen this year that the run game was always not going to be as great. But I think him on the Niners is so flipping hard to pass up on. Him on the Niners is someone where I would be like, hey, trade me. I'll trade you Saquon. I'll take Etienne on the Niners, and we'll just call it. You know, we'll just I'll just go my way.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, dude, I'm with you, man. That would be fantastic. I would love to see that. That would, in our Dynasty league, I don't think a lot of running backs are going to creep into the top picks unless something like that happens. And for me, the answer for this question would be my guy, Najee Harris, but with the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they draft him, they're like, okay, James Conner's gone, Samuels, Benny Snell, Anthony McFarland. I'm sorry, guys. Mike Tomlin wants his workhorse running back. So let's get the 6'2", 230-pound running back out of Bama come here and just mess people up, man. And he's been seeing plenty of receiving work this past year as well. I think he has the chops for it, where he's good enough that he could do both. Behind that offensive line, with those offensive weapons on the outside, in that offense, with Big Ben under center maybe for another year, who knows? Oh, man, dude, give that to me. He's going to be a top. If that happens, I mean, he's a top 10, if not top 8, if not top 5 Dynasty running back right off the bat, just because of the potential. Same with Etienne if he lands with the 49ers as Kyle Shanahan's running back. You know who that would almost – yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking Etienne with Kyle Shanahan kind of reminds me almost of Devontae Freeman with the Falcons a couple of years ago when the man was consistently the running back 2, the running back 3. Yeah, I think he was the RB1 a couple of years ago. Back in like 2016 or something. So I could see those parallels, man. Like anyways, that's just thoughts I have. That's, you guys, if you stay to the rest of the video, this is what Noah and I normally just talk about. It's pretty much this 24/7 all the time.
Yeah, it's part of it is Josh trying to pick my brain to see where I'm feeling in the draft. And I can't show my hand too much because we got months to go.
We have months. Yeah.
Which sucks.
Yeah, dude, I'm ready for it.
Amen.
I'm so ready for the NFL draft. I cannot wait for the rookie draft. It's gonna be
and then you texted me saying, any guy you have thinking about is gonna get shown out on the draft and the pro days and the combine. I'm like, I know, dude, it blows.
It's true, man. You know them coming in, right? And that's another advantage of people watching channels like this is they know the names, they know what to expect prior to the pro days, prior to the combine. I think a lot of sneaky things are going to happen in the combine. For example, I think Trevor Lawrence might run a faster 40 than Justin Fields. That's one of my hot takes going into the combine. I think I know people don't see Lawrence as a running back.
If they're both healthy, I got $10 on that.
Dude, it's a bet right here on the channel, man. Let's put $10 on it, man. Lawrence will be faster 40 than Fields. I'm telling you right now, man. I like it.
Okay.
They're both healthy. I like it, bro. We'll have to see. All right, guys. I love it, man. That is all from us. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We like the video. Let us know what you thought. And guys, we'll be back soon. So we appreciate y'all, and we'll see you next time. Noah, thank you, bro.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me on.
Always, bro. See you guys later.
Namaste.
Namaste.